World Wrestling Federation. For over 50 years, the revolutionary force in sports entertainment.
What's our name?
Well, men on the
Are you ready?
Well, men.
Here we go. Bam, bang, boom. Here we go.
Welcome to the New Generation Mission podcast on Backbone Wrestling Network. I'm Tim Slomka.
I'm JP.
Thanks for joining us again. As always, we're on the journey to relive the new generation era to find the best and some of the worst of a wrestling time period often forgotten. From Bret and Shawn Survivor Series 92 to Bret and Shawn Survivor Series 97, look beyond the pay-per-views, examine the weekly TV, see what worked, what could have worked, and what failed. JP, how was life?
Another catastrophic hurricane when the next couple days here.
Yes. It's part of Florida. It seems crazy. It's in October, but it is what it is.
Well, yeah, I know. Like Green Day has it all wrong. Like you can wake me up when October ends. I don't give a shit about September.
Yeah, this is a rough one. Looks like it's coming close to you. So.
Oh, it's like head on. Well, I think it teetered a little bit south, so hopefully it keeps doing that.
Yeah.
Like that whole I'm literally like 5 miles away from what just got destroyed. Like the other side of 75 got like they're still flooded. Like they're still stuck out in the streets and the whole coastline, but they're gonna get hit again. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about our Florida home, that they are trying to clean all the debris up because it's been so windy. That's the big concern, is like there's already stuff on the ground, and once the wind starts picking, it's just gonna fly away. It's gonna be way worse because it's gonna take all that debris and just start throwing it around in the air. So could be a nasty one.
Yeah, it's something else. I mean, I guess you come accustomed to it living in Florida, but it's never it's never just something that's easy for anybody.
Yeah, they're always difficult, right? They're never just like, oh, nothing happened. There's always something, right? If it's not you, right, it's the area, whatever it directly hits, there's always somewhere that gets pretty messed up. So yes, could be a rough one. But our Bears looking okay.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
Is it positive?
We might actually have a quarterback, and
we just got to play the Panthers every week. That's all we need.
Yeah, I mean that would be the bonus part to our season if we could play them. We could fleece them every year in a trade and just get to beat their ass. So
yeah, that was a good showing to dominate them. A team you need to dominate, and they did that. So that was at least win. Should we talk some 95 Rumble until then?
Yeah, let's talk about highlights of my life.
Oh yes,
Rumble.
Pam Anderson. Oh wait, talking about 1995 Royal Rumble from the area about to get hit by the hurricane. Tampa, Florida. What is this? Central Florida.
I think Central Florida is more like Lakeland.
What's the name of this?
It's
University.
South Florida. But
South Florida. Okay, South Florida. Okay,
South Florida, but it's actually in the middle western part of Florida, so it's a dumb name.
Yeah, but it's their campus. This arena's on.
The Sun
I always
Dome.
get the Sun Dome, and I always, until I kind of researched for this, always thought this was Tropicana. I never knew that it was a different thing.
Thank God it's not.
Yeah, I think they're both pretty crappy. This arena looked pretty dumpy as I've seen pictures on it. So
yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, so we got the fly from Tampa, 1995. This is the first one on a Sunday versus the Saturdays, so something different there too. And we get a little intro, different Rumble music, but kind of a sunshiny music, so it's in with the theme of kind of beachy. And you get Pam Anderson showing up in the limo, and we get Dink. Our first wrestler we see is Dink shouting that she's here, and runs and gets the best of the WWF to do it. It's kind of funny that all the heels and faces come out together as well. Like it's not just the faces, like it's all of them kind of not, putting feuds away. It's so funny, the guys they bring out, like no superstars out there. You got Quang out there, like Quang's gonna press her. It's just so ridiculous, but it really makes fun of the roster depth. Luger's not out there. You don't got Shawn, you don't got Bulldog, or just like anyone else. They just bring Mabel and Doink and Dink and sexy Jimmy Del Rey.
Gigolo,
yep.
He's got the best shot. So.
He's got the best shot, not Quang, but pretty funny opening. You get the very Beach Boy-esque music. Vincent King on the call. And it looks pretty filled. It's got a unique entrance way. It's kind of short, but it's kind of got like a kind of a ramp, way of like an angle, right? They like churn and then kind of churn twice. It's kind of more unique than the standard, straight on entrance we're especially used to in the Airhead era. So a little bit different. Cool video screen above the entranceway too. A little bit different. where the guys are walking underneath the jumbotron. So pretty cool there too. I think I wanted you to take this first match
Oh,
so that
definitely.
you get the second match.
Yeah.
So I get IRS. That yeah.
Yeah.
Me and you don't really plot out matches ahead of time, but every once in a while I'm like, all right, I know
Yeah.
JP needs this match, so you
No,
take
I
the
get
first
it.
one, so you get the third one.
Yeah, so we start off hot with Razor Ramon versus Jeff Jarrett, the IC title match, and as they're both coming out, this is a top tier outfit matchup with both guys.
Yes, 90s. Yep.
And I like both these guys as a matchup itself. I think Jarrett's like hokey heel shtick with all the Memphis fixins with the roadie and everything. I think that plays well to a super over cool type babyface like Razor is.
With some heavy hitting offense too, I would give him
Yeah.
because like it every time he smacks him or whatever, it makes it look like legit, right? Like he's like really taking him out. So I like that too.
Yeah, because Jarrett plays to
Right.
the top of the arena, like,
Yep.
and Razor, like, one thing I've kind of got to notice is like Razor is just over by being cool. Like he's not, I don't know, he's not like the best guy on the mic. He just has this aura of being cool and
Swagger. Yep.
yeah, how many other guys have had that? Like, there's not too many that are just like cool. There's cool wrestlers and all that, but they've been kind of good on the mic or been like extravagant. Razor's just kind of like the laid back cool guy. He's really over because of it. So pretty cool stuff in this match. Really clear face and heel dynamic. Jarrett kind of, as you said, they have like a lot of heavy hitting offense early on, and Jarrett kind of uses like heel tactics, with his feet on the ropes and stuff like that. And I love that kind of stuff. Like you don't see that too often anymore, but I love those little heel tricks and everything. We get to a point in the match where he eventually tosses Razor out over the ropes, and Razor kind of hurts his knee. So this was a great moment in the match too, because Razor's really selling it, which allows Rhodey to come around the corner and clip him, which is an awesome spot too. I always love that too. Like just those little clipping of the legs, which I don't really think it does much in real life. Like if you hit somebody in the back of the knee and their knee bends the way it's supposed to.
I don't know. I was just at my brother's house today, and his new puppy did that to my knee, and I'm like, I think I destroyed my ACL. But I'm actually fine. Actually fine though. But it felt like one of those things where this dog came flying around the corner, and just literally did the same thing the roadie did, and I was like, I think my knee's done. And then I started walking. I'm like, oh, this is fine. But it's very similar.
If you get hit in the front, you're gonna hyperextend it. Yeah. I get that. But if you get hit in the back and it
kind of bends that way. Yeah.
So I don't know. I've always been like, okay, what's that supposed to do? So, he tackles him and. Apparently Jarrett wins by count out. So this is the part that gets kind of weird in the match, which I like how it ends up. But Jarrett says he didn't come here to get his hand raised, which I think you did come there to get your hand raised, but just not in that fashion. So Jarrett wants the match to keep going. Even though his guy interfered, causing the count out, he doesn't want it that way. So Razor returns. They restart the match, and Razor gets like this great like spirited comeback, which is good, but he's also selling the knee. So like Razor's really fired up going for it, but you can see he's in a lot of pain. So there's some good stuff there. Great spot here where Razor goes for the Razor's edge and his knee gives out, and Jarrett rolls him up and gets the title. So Jarrett's your IC champ now. He's got the roadie with him. I think Jarrett's an awesome pick to be the IC champ if Razor were to drop it. The way he wins was awesome too, just like Razor selling the leg and Rhodey being the one that eventually assisted him to winning. And I thought this was a good match to start the show off with, and a pretty solid match overall.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely I feel like Cena, this is like a John Cena move of like the face can't just give in after defeats, right? Like he clearly should just lost the count out. The smart move is just like lose and go away, especially because Rhodey cheated.
Right.
But Razor can't do that. I like Razor coming out. Like he's opened a lot of our pay-per-views. It seems like his music hits pops. He's got the swagger, like you said. So his music is, I think, like almost every pay-per-view, he's an opening match. Mm-hmm. This is a good match. It's kind of cool starting off with a title match. Like I know there's 3 title matches, so like starting off with IRS coming out might not be the best way, but pretty cool starting with the title match. I do think that Jarrett was great on the mic, calling Razor a chicken and kind of doing, over the top acting about Razor not coming back. That's the reason he's here. But the crowd just does not care about Double J. He's just not over. I don't know if it's just the crowd isn't used to Memphis things, though, even though Lawler does the same thing, or just his gimmick isn't over. Just something about him. He just does not connect. So it's kind of strange they put him over here. I do think Razor has his 5 moves of doom, which was awesome. Like when he came back from his knee injury, he came back really strong, but then his knee kind of gave out. So it makes sense that like Razor, he didn't beat Double J didn't beat Razor like a fluke, but it kind of is like, okay, you can understand how he beat him. And if he wins the next time, it's not like, okay, it's a shocking upset. But once the bell hit, like there was pretty much silence from the crowd. And I was so pissed as a kid when Razor lost this, and I'm like, WJ won. So like I remember as a kid just not taking Double J credible. Like I thought this is my lock of the week of like Razor winning, right? Like like no chance Double J's winning, and to see him win, and I think the crowd was kind of silent for it. So fun match and a cool idea, and maybe good to get the title off Razor. We talked about this, that he's kind of been disappointing as a champion, but it just doesn't feel like maybe Double J should be the guy.
Well, yeah, I hated Double J as a kid too, because I felt like he was like too hokey.
Yeah.
And like, that is a critique in a lot of the Memphis stuff, but I think like, seeing him in the Memphis, like in that setting, it like makes me appreciate it more than I kind of going to be a fan of him. But at the time, I couldn't stand Jarrett at all. I thought like his fake laugh and the way he talks on the mic is kind of hokey. Like he plays it up a little too much sometimes, but so far I'm enjoying his character, like with the road in the package.
Yeah, it's just I feel like Lawler does the stuff so much better, or connects with the crowd so much better.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's where I think a little bit of stuff looking back, like I think the stuff that kind of Double J is doing is pretty good. Like I think he's always in the gimmick, right? He's always like you said, we haven't even talked about his laugh, his like his music, his strut, his everything. He's always with the gimmick, right? He's never not in there. It's just not over with the crowd. Like that's my biggest critique of this.
I agree.
For sure. So now we get a hot match. We get Taker versus IRS. A feud that started off hot when Razor was literally crapping on dead people at the cemetery, and it's just gone nowhere. We got this druid idea of coming out that no one quite understands. So we get IRS coming out, just complaining about everyone being tax cheats in Tampa. And then we get Undertaker with a pretty cool entrance, right? Now he's really in the gimmicky lights out, kind of the lightning bolts a little bit, the flashes of lights, his entrance is really into it. Crowd pops huge for Taker coming out. The match is pretty boring early. It's really just nothing. Like they're killing time until finally $1 Million Man gets the Druids to come out. The crowd I thought was way more into IRS, especially when the Druids came out into the IRS match or into IRS's offense compared to Double J. Again, I think some of that is because there's so much going on with the Druids and $1 Million Man, and so it's adding to like every time they go outside the ring, there's more action. It really becomes a 4-on-1 at that point, and I really like Taker goes for old school. The Druid shakes the ropes to knock him off, so it's like really like a 4-on-1 battle, and Taker like how he's going to do it. Vince also mentions that IRS is better than Bret Hart. I don't know if you took that to heart, JP, or not.
Yeah, I did.
Figured that.
I did.
But then we start, they really talk up the urn in this match, right? Like if you say one thing is like every time Undertaker's gone, King keeps saying, "Oh, the urn, that's his key." And finally, Taker wins on a lame choke slam to IRS. And even Vince Max like, this can't be the finish. And then Taker does a terrible, like his arms over the chest to win it on like the 3 counts. Terrible count. IRS looks like a bum. So Taker wins strong. The Druids didn't even do anything to stop the pin. So you kind of get Taker looking strong. The aftermath, finally, you get the crowd back into it with a little bit of action. Bundy comes down to the ring. IRS nails Paul Bearer to steal the urn, which is pretty awesome. And the crowd gets into Taker Bundy. So it looks like a cool feud. Bundy is pretty tall for as big as he is. So he kind of matches. He's not like a midget type size against Taker. Like they kind of match up height to height. And the crowd was into it. The crowd is really into that part. And then, like I said, Paul Bearer getting the urn taken away from him. It looks like the $1 Million Man Corporation looks long. Like that little angle was like cool setup, but it was like a 20-minute match before that with, again, the Druids adding nothing. Like, why weren't they out at first? Why weren't they ever revealed? Like, what was the point of them? IRS looks like a bum losing clean. I thought they could have just done a schmaz in the middle of it, like just kind of have them Bundy come out and the Druids come out and, have the 4-on-1 versus this kind of slog of a match. I don't know. There's got to be a better way for these taker matches than these long 10-minute ones that we kind of see here.
Yeah, so I feel like IRS worked pretty hard to try and make this entertaining, but Undertaker's still just so slow. And IRS isn't exactly a guy that can like bounce off of him to make it, exciting like a Shawn or later on Mick Foley or whatever. But I'm not the biggest Bundy fan. I don't really like him in this era, but I will admit that the standoff and everything, the crowd did get into that. And it did kind of build it a little bit, like the hype for it. I was just surprised at how big Bundy was compared to Taker. Like, I couldn't believe they were almost nose to nose. So the Druids, they look like the Blue Brothers to
I
me.
think
like,
it's got to be. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't confirm it, but it looked like them kind of. The urn, the whole deal with the urn playing up again. Like, they're going to make a big deal out of that. And I don't think IRS is that much longer for WWF, is he? He's not around that much longer,
I don't know
right?
if like he stole the urn, but like I don't know if he like obviously at Mania becomes a point that I remember, and
and Kama gets involved with
right,
it.
but I don't even know if IRS is out for that match. So
yeah, so I think he might be. I don't know. We'll see, I guess, but I feel like he goes to WCW at some point.
he comes out.
Maybe
He comes out for the first Nitro.
That's right.
As Vincent?
VK Wall Street.
VK Wall Street. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's definitely his first appearance.
You're right.
But,
So yeah, it'll be a while still.
But I don't know how long he's out for. He might have been out a couple months before that because I know Bischoff said he was saving that for that Nitro. I think even before Luger, that was going to be the big one. I think and that feels a little bit a step down, but it would be a big thing, right? Like, hey, a guy that was on the other showcase just months ago coming up, especially as VK Wall Street, it might have been bigger. I mean, the Luger one just is so momentous, but he was definitely saving that for Nitro. So he might have been there for a little bit. He might have been doing house shows and stuff, but for his TV appearance, he was saving it for himself. Who knows? But yes, it was a nothing match.
So yeah, then obviously we're gonna get Bundy versus Taker at Mania now is pretty much what they're foreshadowing. So
and the crowd, I can't blame WWE because I don't know if they've done that match in house shows yet, but the crowd was pumped for it. Like there was a massive reaction, way bigger than Double J versus Razor got anywhere in the match. So the crowd looks into it, but we could see when we actually get to in-ring wrestling, it's atrocious.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess you could think, okay, maybe Taker worked good with Yoko. Maybe there's a chance this could work. So maybe that's what they were thinking. But we'll see how that goes. So the next, surprisingly to me, I didn't remember this being this placed in the card. We get the world title match, and that's Bret Hart versus Diesel. So I didn't expect this to be third. I thought the tag match was going to be next, but then I remembered why the tag matches before the Rumble. So this is pretty cool. Like we get the, Bret comes out and then we get the Diesel entrance with the truck driving into the glass. Glass breaking, kind of like how Stone Cold started doing when he came out. So it's kind of like the first time we see this. And he's wearing like a silver jacket now, goes and daps up LT. So Diesel definitely seems like a just cool star. And it definitely feels new gen to me. Like this feels, way different than, let's say, like 93, 92, 91 Rumbles per se. Like this just feels like a whole different kind of promotion right now. As far as the match goes, I like how Bret like works on Diesel early, like breaking him down, and Diesel's doing a pretty good job selling too. Like he's not just like, shrugging Bret off. He's like respecting Bret as a technician, letting him kind of work on him a little bit, being the bigger guy. Bret also does like an awesome dive to the outside once he gets Diesel out there, so that was pretty cool. And then Diesel takes over, and he's pretty good on offense with some big power moves, and like Bret's the king of selling this kind of stuff. So, Bret just looking like he's always in pain, always exhausted, really highlights Diesel's offense. And I think, if they focused on this kind of matchup, not necessarily always Bret, but not, throwing your big guys in there with Diesel's title run. I think like he would have had a much better title run because this starts off pretty well, and showcases Diesel like as a big, not monster, but a guy that can hold his own. So it's pretty good. There's a GOAT level spot with Bret tying Diesel's laces around the post. I love that spot. We did that as kids many times when we were younger, along with the figure four that he would develop later on. So that was awesome, tying his shoes around the post to kind of get him grounded. Diesel then hits the jackknife and goes for the cover, and out of nowhere, Shawn comes out and breaks up the pin. So don't feel like this makes much sense to me. If Shawn's going to go in the Rumble and wants to win the title, wants to fight Diesel, wouldn't he want him to keep it, I guess? Well, I guess he would. I don't know. It's like you're breaking up the pin. He's going to keep the title anyways. He was getting a jackknife. He's going to keep the title anyways. So, like, what are you doing?
I couldn't figure this out. If you can figure out what all this makes sense,
well, it's like the jackknife wins the match. You breaking it up, he wins the match. So either way, he's still the champ. So weird stuff. Then they rule that the match must continue for some reason. So I don't know why. Yeah, I don't. So like for all the crying Bret does later on, like, hey, you got fair shakes early on too, buddy. So they must continue the match. Now all of a sudden Bret gets the sharpshooter on, but Owen interferes. So that makes a little bit more sense. Owen doesn't want Bret to be the champion. He breaks it up. So
But even that, right? Owen's like, I want to beat you for the title at SummerSlam. That was the whole feud over this last summer, right? So, like, what do you think he kind of wants him to win so that he can win the Rumble and go? All this I can't quite figure out.
Yeah, it's a little convoluted, or a lot convoluted. It's weird because they also rule this must continue as well, and now like all the heels intervene, and it just seems like last year's Rumble now when all the heels came out to attack Taker. So it's like the same kind of overbooked finish. Gets ruled a draw, and it's just, this match.
Why is Double J out there?
Exactly.
Like, why would Double J be out there?
Right, and then that's the part I don't get. It's clearly you're just finding a way out, and you didn't want to beat Bret. So don't put Bret in this match if that's the case. Have Bret feud with someone else, or have Bret in the Rumble create a feud with somebody else or something. It's just very weird that this is the way they did this match, and it was actually a pretty good match before all this stuff started happening. But yeah, I just don't feel. I feel like this is a sign of things to come with Diesel's title reign as far as the booking goes.
Yeah, I the same notes about like Diesel with the new entrance, the glass, the lights are different, like with the song more together. I also got fireworks in the ring, which we're starting to see with Razor too. Like, so they're definitely presenting these guys as bigger than life a little bit. The cool shaking of LT's hand. They say he's a guest of Diesel, so trying to make him like a celebrity. I thought it was great. Bret went after the ribs of Diesel and the knee and the legs of Diesel. I thought all that stuff was good. The chair shot was pretty violent too. And again, Vince says, why is that no DQ? Which again is like, they have 3 disqualifications in this match, and like using a chair isn't that. So kind of, this is so convoluted. Like on that part, I hate the part where Bret fakes the knee injury and then tries to play possum into it. My note says, do these guys not watch tape?
Right.
Because he uses it all the time. I think it could be cool in that if they use this to set up the, Survivor Series 95 ending is this. So if they somehow get that in there, like that would be an awesome thing. Like, but I got a feeling they didn't go there, but like, if that's a long play for that, awesome.
Right.
There was a small package on that the crowd definitely built on. They thought Bret was winning the title. I thought Bret was still way more over than Diesel. I don't know if you can think that. Even though Bret acted like a heel, not over the top heel, but like Bret definitely got bigger pops on the 3 counts. Lots of boos when the ref declares it a draw. And then what's weird is like Backlund gets the chicken wing really strong on Bret. And then Diesel does make the save for Bret. So I kind of get that part. Like if you're trying to do it, it's just like, why would these guys come out each individually? Like maybe it should have came at the end. I don't know. There's gotta be a better way to book it. I do like the fact that Bret saves Diesel and they kind of get the hot babyface ending of them shaking hands and kind of I don't want to say passing the torch, but right, kind of showing, hey, Bret was the champ. Now it's Diesel's title, right? Because they kind of use backlist in between. So if that's all the part of it, it seems like a lot to get there. But Diesel in the end stands and rolling the rings. They do show two hot blondes afterwards, so trying to show that he's with the ladies as well.
Yeah.
That's the end of the match. Yeah, overbooked mess. I get they were in a corner, but there's got to be a better way to do it. I actually don't know how to do it because this part kind of ruins the Rumble as we get to that.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of, I'm guessing they were thinking like storyline. Let's let this flow into the Rumble, but it doesn't make sense, a lot of it, and it just doesn't make either guy look great. Other than the ending where they both kind of stand strong and took out all the best heels.
Right.
A very mega powers things to do.
That's a good point.
Then we get a great promo with Tom Pettingill, my man, in Pamela's dressing room. So there's 2 or 3 of these skits. One of them, he talks about all the gifts she got, which is pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
And then he asked Todd if he got if she got his gift, and the flowers, and she can't find it with all the other stuff. So pretty funny on that skit. The second shift, she's behind like I don't know what you call those walls, but basically like a little screen. And clearly they're trying to make her seem naked. And she wants Todd to give her purse, and he does a really funny job of playing up like he's scared. He hits his puberty, like when he tries talking to her. I thought he did great overacting. His mullet is out of control, so I put that he probably banged her after this. But the skits were pretty funny. Pam actually was into these things, so I thought from a guest celebrity thing, everyone kind of mocks her of not being very excited in it. I thought she did pretty good on these, maybe because they're more acting than watching wrestling. But I thought she did pretty good on both of these. And Todd's a showman, so I think he brought up some of these things. So we get those skits in between the matches, and then we get our tag team title match. So we get Bob Holly with, I put an F level promo. He brings up the San Diego.
So
he brings up that the San Diego Chargers are going to win the Super Bowl. They lost by 8.
Smokes.
They lost by 800. I put 800.
Yeah.
It might have been a little bit over exaggeration on my part, but
55-10. I think
it was something. It wasn't even that close. But it's funny that he brings that up. He's like, "Oh, we're just gonna be like the Chargers and win the Super Bowl." So kind of funny that brings it up. And then we get that promo. We get Bam Bam and Tatanka out first with the $1 Million Corporation. So they're looking strong here. They just kind of took out Taker a little bit. They got Taker's earned, and here they're coming for the tag team titles. This match is too long, but it's a good match. I think you got the crowd a little bit dead after the kind of crazy title match. What was the title match? 30 minutes. So it was a long match plus all the extra stuff. That was a 45-minute presentation. This should have been, 10 minutes, let everyone get beers, but also kind of have the hot ending. And you kind of get people that are sitting in the arena, some hot moves. So it was just a little too long. Anytime Kid was in there, he was way better than Bob Holly. He got really sold for Bam Bam Bigelow's moves. So anytime Bam Bam was on offense with him, he was able to play with him, and Kid sold it greatly. Kid got a ton of offense in too. So it wasn't just one-sided, but they would kind of get back to to Bam Bam taking him out. So a really good match that way. The end is a little bit silly in that Kid is really getting taken care of, and Bam Bam sets him up for the moonsault. So he's going to win the title. And for some reason, Tatanka decides he's going to do an elbow drop, which I don't know if he's ever done. Sorry, I didn't check that out if he's ever done. So he goes back to the elbow drop and knocks Bam Bam off the top rope as he goes into the ropes. Bam Bam sells it great, just out unconscious, and Kid rolls over and gets the 3 count. Massive upset. They play Bob Holly and Kid's music. They celebrate. Kid and Vince do a great selling of why can't Tatanka get Bam Bam up, Vince or DiBiase help him out. So they really sold it good, and we get new tag team champions. So fun underdog moments. I thought great selling by Bam Bam, but it just again makes the corporation look like losers. They couldn't beat these bums, especially on Bob Holly. Mm-hmm. So, and then we get, kind of Vince saying that Bam Bam is an embarrassment. Everyone's laughing at him, look at him. And Bam Bam is kind of calling out the fans, and he gets called out right in front of by LT and does the classic shove of him. Really good shove. And LT sold it well. The bodyguards sold it well. I thought it was a really good segment. It was one of did you think this was real or not? You actually kind of didn't know the way they presented it. So I thought an awesome segment. LT was great on it. Kind of loses his glasses too, and Bam Bam just starts swearing as he after he pushes LT. So fun segment. I mean, I don't know if anyone thought that was setting up a WrestleMania main event, but a pretty cool use of a celebrity in a segment. You definitely, got good footage from that after a, kind of fun match. It just seemed like a little bit too long to set up this big angle.
Yeah, I think this is like one of the most like iconic moments we've seen so far, like in the
Yes.
New Generation era. I think it's probably the best use of a celebrity so far. It's like a prelude to the Tyson and Austin moment. Like it's kind of
It was
probably the
that, right? It was the
blueprint
same
for
thing.
that.
Yeah, it was a blueprint
Yeah,
for that. Yeah, I agree.
yeah, and I feel like Bigelow is a perfect guy because he's such a good worker, but he's also like a badass. Like when you look at him, he's like this mean, like, he's a guy that's gonna match up against a football player if anybody is on the roster. So perfect casting for this. I think LT played it well. They did great with Diesel, going to LT in his match, so you kind of get, focus on him to know that he's there. Bigelow selling that he's embarrassed was awesome, like losing to this little guy, and now everybody's laughing at him. He's got his mouth all bloody. And then just the shove, it was perfect. This is like, a moment that you kind of want in your big shows. So I feel like the booking of this was laid out perfectly. The only bad part about it was it took a little bit away from Kid and Holly winning the belts. Like that's a big moment for underdogs, but I guess
Yep.
since they're not going to be like long-term champions, it doesn't hurt it as much. But the moment itself is well worth it. So I felt like that was pretty good. And I think, seeing this, the good part about it is you don't know where it's going to go. Like, I don't think anybody expected, like you said, LT to be main eventing WrestleMania because of this. Like, I don't even know if they thought that, or maybe they did, but that was pretty crazy that it ends up like that.
Yeah. I did see that LT was the observers that LT was like contracted by WWF, but it doesn't say for like a match.
Mm-hmm.
It just says like, hey, he's being brought in for something. So I don't know when they kind of switched it. Obviously, I'm guessing they were trying to like feel it out, right?
Right.
With it, and then the following presentation is great. We'll talk about that.
And also, like, LT is already retired at this point. Well, yeah, he is.
He's
Right?
got to be, right? Yeah, he's
yeah.
gotta be.
And so this is like the equivalent of maybe Aaron Donald doing this now.
Yeah.
Like, dominant defensive player of his era. Like I don't know if younger viewers our listeners might not know, but LT was like the defensive player, like one of the best of all time. So having like Aaron Donald or something in this current day who had just retired do this would be the same
everyone
thing.
Everyone thought Gronk was going to do it, right? He showed up the one WrestleMania, kind of got a little bit involved, and like everyone's like Gronk, and he's been nowhere to be here from that. So
exactly.
But it was kind of similar to that. Like it's as you kind of look at that history, it's like, oh, that's not too crazy to think of happening.
So then from there we get Pam Anderson coming out to observe the Rumble, and this is kind of where she looks like she really doesn't give a shit now. Like she's like you said, she's all for the skits and the acting and kind of showing off her chops, but she's like, do I really got to? She was probably the reason the times got cut down. She's like, if I'm going to be out here, I'm not going to be out here for no hour and some change. Like, you guys need to cut this shit short. So,
I got 45 minutes.
And I wonder what made them do this. So, like this Rumble is obviously the shortest Rumble of all time. The intervals were cut down to what, 30 seconds?
A minute.
Is that what this is? A minute.
But it feels.
Yeah.
So last year they went 1:30, which they were running long on, I'm guessing, right? And then this year was just
a minute.
They decided that, well, like last year's was decided during the pay-per-view. This year's was started well ahead of time, which is why the IRS match and even that tag match just feel like super long because they're just trying to kill time, literally kill time to make up for not having Dick Murdoch go 10 minutes, So
right. So Pam Anderson comes out to watch it, so that's the big deal. And obviously your number one is Shawn Michaels and your number two is Bulldog. So I think this is a good combo to start. I think having two solid workers to start the Rumble is always good. Like it gets the crowd into it, and especially two guys that mesh well together like this. So you're going to get your quicker intervals now, and that leads to I don't know if it's Jacob or Eli Blue coming out
I have
next.
I have Eli. So let's do 5 at a time. So why don't you get Eli
Okay.
the first
So I
5?
got
I think it's
I got Eli Blue followed by Dukes the Jumpster Josie to bring it down a notch. So you got Shawn and Bulldog, and you got Eli Blue and Dumpster. So great synergy there. And then after that is where you kick it back up a notch with Gigolo, and he looks like he means business as he flies out there. He was the one that, the missing tooth. Like Chris Benoit don't have shit on him. So he's out there with the missing tooth. He's flying with the mullet out to the ring and kind of bringing the action back to it. So, yeah. So
yeah.
the ring is starting to fill up a little bit. We don't have any eliminations next. And take it from there.
Yeah, so we got I'll just add on Shawn. I thought he got a pretty big pop when he came out first. Vince was loving the stripping. Like, he's just like, oh, look at this guy just taking it off. It was just like, all right, keep your pants. Pam did some smiling and show her ringside every time.
Mm-hmm.
Bulldog got a huge pop as well, but then the next 3 guys are just silence as they come out. We've never heard of Eli Blue. I just wrote that note. That doesn't mean I'm right, but I have Eli Blue coming out as number 3. And then Gigolo is as Barbarian comes out. At number 6, Gigolo does get thrown out. So he's the first elimination. We're not going to get every elimination, but sadly, Gigolo was the first guy out. So he did like a minute maybe of in-ring action. So good payday for him. So we got Barbarian, and then Vince. The one thing rewatching this is Vince is over the top with Shawn. He just keeps saying, "Oh, he's out. I can't believe he's still in." It's just a little annoying compared that him and Bulldog go the same length. So Barbarian, what is he? Sione then?
Yep.
Sione is out next is 6. 7's Tom Pritchard. The way Vince and King are sitting and they don't have entrance music at this time, they can't see who's coming out. So they're like, oh, I don't know who this is.
Right.
And it's really kind of crappy the way they sit compared to like they're kind of, like I said, it kind of angles the ramp kind of does. So they can't see. So they don't see Tom Pritchard. We get Doink coming out Dig. I thought a crowd popped huge compared to after Shawn Bulldog, ahead of everyone else. Doink got a huge pop. There was a lot of people standing up, so I noticed a lot during the Rumble, people sitting down, but this is one where people kind of stood up and went for him to the ring. 9, we get Quang, and even King complains that it's going too fast. He can't write everyone down. I had the same issue of like trying to type as fast as I could of who was coming in. And then number 10, we get the model, Rick Martel. Crazy that he shows up. I don't remember him being announced. I do remember Anvil being announced. I'm assuming he's taking his place. He looks pretty good. This is his 7th Rumble. And he's a guy that keeps coming in and out of WWF. I wish a guy we probably could have kept longer in the New Generation era. And he looked good in there, still in shape. And we know he fights for a couple more years. So kind of a guy with a missed opportunity. Maybe they just ran out of feuds with him, but he seems like a guy that is a good worker, could probably give you 10, 15 minutes. So weird they don't kind of keep him longer. We'll see if he shows up anymore, but kind of really shocked. I didn't even remember him in this. When he came out, I was like, holy crap.
I didn't even know he was still on the roster.
I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea if this is a one and done or anything. So we'll see.
Yeah, so like I said, I didn't have any idea. Vince is fawning over Shawn like crazy. Like this
fawning's the perfect
this is
way.
like Diddy level with Usher, maybe. The McMahon's parties might be going crazy the same way. Like he's just all over Shawn. It's like almost uncomfortable how much he's all over Shawn. So
especially compared to Bulldog, like he doesn't do that to Bulldog.
And
they're going to be
face.
and they're the same. The same thing is happening. It's not like Shawn's been there 10 more minutes. No, it's exactly.
Maybe Shawn finally sold his soul and he earned this praise.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm a Bret fan, so I'm going that way.
Yes.
So then, hold on, we got
11. Oh, I got Owen.
Yep. So now we got Owen comes out. So Owen comes out and Bret attacks him in the aisleway, which is awesome. Like I love that because Bret's getting his payback a little bit. So he starts beating up Owen a little bit, and Owen eventually makes it to the ring. And then Timothy Well comes out to a pop. It's crazy. Like he comes out and he's like running. I feel like they thought he was somebody else. Like they saw his long hair and the colors or something. Maybe they thought the Ultimate Warrior came back or something. I don't know. But they, like, for some reason, it might have been piped in, but I don't know why you would pipe it in for him. But
I think there's like stuff. I think Bret throws Owen in the ring. There's got to be something with Bret
that makes
at the
sense.
time. Yeah, because I had the same notes.
Like, what the hell? Why are they like? You can't multiply me in the crowd to make all these. Even though I was in Tampa at the time, it wasn't me cheering for him. But so that was weird. and then Dumpster, Timothy Well, and Martel all in succession get thrown out, as well as Owen, question mark. I think Owen got tossed out. It looked like he did. And then Pritchard as well. So kind of emptying the ring a little bit for Bushwhacker Luke. So you got to make room for him, of course. And then Eli Blue and Sione get tossed out. So they're getting tossed out, followed by Luke. So again, the ring is all the way cleared out now, down to Bulldog and Shawn again, which is as it should be. Like there's nobody else in there right now. Maybe Martel. I would have liked to see him in there for a little bit and seeing what he could do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's down to those two again. Then the other, so Jacob Blue is out and he gets quickly tossed, and that's what one. That's three more here. So
14. Yeah, you got 15 is your boy Bundy.
And then King Kong Bundy is out, which he's a heavy hitter in this Rumble. So this isn't like as you can tell by these names, this isn't like a star-studded Rumble by any means. Probably part of the reason why they wanted to rush the time as well. But when Bundy comes out, he does feel like a big deal, and he is a bigger body in the Rumble. So it's pretty good to see him kind of come out at the right time as well. So
yeah, and it's good with they're starting to throw people out, so it's a kind of good time for that kind of him being thrown out. They talk about him that he's going to go to WrestleMania. They finally also show it when Bundy comes out that Owen was thrown out, so they missed that, so you don't know when Owen got thrown out. Shawn at this point in Bulldog, I think Bundy's coming out for them giving a breather, and they both look gassed. It's only been 15 minutes, and they both look out of pouring sweat. I get it's hard, but you think of what Flair did at age 40, Backlund did at age 43. They didn't look this exhausted.
Right.
They look really rough, and it's probably the steroid guts that they're causing that. So we get number 16. Mo comes in. He's immediately tossed out. King thinks this is the funniest thing ever. He goes, Mo was on a mission to break Luke's record. I don't understand what he was trying to do. He literally comes running full steam. I don't know what, because he doesn't go for a clothesline. He was going for a belly bump. I'm not sure what he was trying to do. Normally it's they're going for a clothesline and they get thrown over, but he didn't even extend his arm. So it was a terrible, as much as Mo has been terrible all the time. This is a new low for him. And then 17, we get out Mabel. The crowd really pumps up for that. You get the whoop, there it is, chance, and they realize it's going to be Bundy and Mabel. So pretty fun there. We get the Bushwhacker Butch out at 18. Again, kind of weird. They're just filling the card here with 18. And then 19, we get Luger out. Huge pop. I actually thought his pop coming out was bigger than Diesel's.
Yes.
Right away, Luger flips Mabel out. I don't know where Bundy got thrown out there, but it was pretty cool seeing Luger just immediately.
Mabel tossed him.
Oh, Mabel tossed. Okay, so Mabel tossed him, and then Luger got Mabel out. So pretty cool there. And King says his pick to the click is Luger. I also missed earlier. There's a they do the pre-promo interviews, and Todd Pettengill calls out Luger. Is hey, you can't win the big one. What's wrong with you? Which was hilarious. And King here is saying, "Yep, Luger's my favorites." And so he looks good. He's got the pop, but as we can see later, this does not come to fruition. And number 20, we get Mr. Mantar. I'm so glad I got number 20. Comes out, but no headgear. He does look good. He's one of those guys that just doesn't look too fat. Kind of a little bit like Earthquake, compared to Typhoon. He looks just bigger, but not like a fat slob.
Yeah,
Typhoon looks like a fat slob, right? Where I feel like this guy doesn't look like that. So pretty cool coming out there. The name is stupid. The bullhead's stupid. But he looks decent here, number 20. So, but we're starting to get into after kind of we're going to get into the jobber section, which just feels like a way they could get Luger to toss all these guys, which, as you'll talk about, doesn't happen. This is setting up for Mantar to come out and Luger just toss him. The next three guys to come out, Luger toss him, but he doesn't.
That was my exact note. So my exact note was these next few guys Luger should have been tossing by himself to build up a showdown. So Luger got the best reaction. For some reason, when you see this stuff play out, I don't blame Luger for doing the WWF like he did, and showing up on WCW. They just wasted him in his prime years. The narrative that Luger is not this great wrestler or was never over or whatever is simply because they shit the bed booking him. Like
Yeah.
he has always get a great reaction. His WCW matches, he has some like all-time great matches.
Especially in like
Um,
98, like when we
yep.
talk 98 and stuff, like he's, even prior, okay, whatever, but like he has career after this, right? It's not like he's
Yep.
done, but
Yeah. So it just sucks to see this downfall, and like for all these other guys, you can tell it just became politics of the clique
right.
taking over, and they were getting the push and that kind of thing. Is like there's no way you're gonna tell me, as much as I love Kevin Nash and I love Diesel, that you're not gonna tell me that Luger wouldn't have been a better champion. Like at least in ring, or the buy rates are down too, so you can't tell me Diesel's moving the needle there. So yeah, I just don't get it. So out comes Aldo Montoya, who I guess he deserves a spot in the Rumble, but doesn't really do anything. Then Henry Godwin comes out to like a negative pop. Like no one gives two shits about him. He's another guy who's been solid, like in the ring, kind of like Mantar, but there's just no meat on the bone there for him yet. Like nothing's really developed to where anybody gives a shit about him.
Yep.
Billy Gunn comes flying in next. So for the horse's injury or whatever, whichever one that was, he seems to be fine. Followed by Bart. It's just kind of weird that they put those two so close to each other, but nothing really amounts from them. And then Bob Backlund comes strutting down next. So Backlund kind of eats up the crowd a little bit. At least kind of is a little entertaining come out there. But this stretch of guys should have been meant for Luger to dispose of them and kind of have another showdown towards the end. But that really didn't work out that way, as all of them end up staying in the ring for a little bit.
It's I have the same note about the Hog Farmer, dead for it, absolutely dead. And then it was so lame, like Billy and Bart Gunn come right back to back after it. Like it's just like lame booking. It's very lazy booking. So like, and again, they kind of get thrown out together later. I don't know. Whenever they get thrown out together. So it's like long, lame. Like again, they could have been like, what if they took out Mantar, Man of War, and as a team, and then like show them like, okay, maybe tag teams are, but they do nothing. It's just very poorly booked and very lame. So that was it Dunn? Which Dunn is he? Timothy Well or Scott Dunn? What's his name?
Dunn.
Stephen Dunn. Sorry, I just put Dunn.
Get it right, damn it.
Damn, I'm sorry. They don't deserve it after this performance. All right. So we get there's 225. We get 26. Backlund comes out. Same thing again. He's walking out slowly and Bret attacks him. Pretty cool. Then Luger throws him out. All right, good stuff. Luger throws him out. Bret gets the huge pop again, which is why I think when whenever Timothy Well came out, I think that was for Bret, because the crowd went crazy when Bret was kind of like, sense. I think he must like raise his arms or something, like to really get the crowd. But Bret looks like a superstar. Again, it's perfect for the way they had where they did earlier, where they had the Owen and Bret interfere in his tag match. Like that's awesome that they kind of did that. But now the fact that they're then later, Bret's coming out is perfect, but it's just kind of silly overall, right? And you're losing two good heels. Like Owen especially could have been in this ring for a long time. Backlund showed 2 years ago. He was in there for 45 minutes, 50 minutes. Right. Like it would have been a lot of fun to see those guys in longer, and especially a ring that you need better guys. But they just kind of use it as a Bret taking them out. I'm guessing that's just setting up house show feuds. But again, it feels like we could do that in Raw, not on the Rumble. So 27 I get. Oh, damn it. I get Dick Murdoch. He comes out. Vince says he's been really training hard. His fat beer gut is definitely in there. 28 is Adam Bomb. He is the man. He looks awesome. Vince says what a huge advantage this is for him to come out this late, but we know that's not going to be an advantage as we've seen Adam Bomb sucks. 29 is Fatu. So we got Fatu coming out next with his no, he's still in the head shrinkers. I was going to say make a difference, but and then we get 30 Crush, and Vince says Crush is going to WrestleMania. So that's our 30. Anything you want to add on those last five guys? The last five superstars.
Besmirch the name of Dick Murdoch. His awesome punches on Shawn Michaels were one of the highlights of the Rumble for me. Besides his little buggy whip arms out there, and he probably was, 3 cans in before he went in there,
I was at least 4 beers deep.
I think he had like legit in real life. He had a like a dealership with like Coors Light. Like he had some kind of deal with them or something. There was something going on with like a beer company he worked for at the time. I remember him talking about it in Smoky Mountain when
Okay.
they brought him back. So yeah, he was definitely three sheets to the wind.
Yeah.
Um, definitely past his prime. So I like him better
No
in the
idea. Is
80s,
he ever come
obviously.
out again? Is he?
I don't think so. I think this is a Jim Cornette favor kind of thing. Like because
Maybe.
he worked in Smoky Mountain at the same time
Okay.
as like a bounty guy or something like that. Like they brought him in. I forget for what feud, but yeah, they he,
Well,
it,
I could see that. Like, hey, I want to have one WWF match ever, right? Like,
mhm.
I kind of get that.
Well, he worked before. He was in the tag team. He and Adrian Adonis, or yeah, Adonis. Weren't they the North South or yeah
but
East
when's
West?
but when's that? Like 80?
Oh, 84. Yeah. It's back in the day.
Yeah, yeah. So
But
I'm saying like, yeah, like a real, pay-per-view type
right.
experience.
I mean, yeah,
Uh,
that makes sense to get his name out there and get on a big show. So, well, it's kind of like Doug Gilbert next year. It's the same thing.
yeah, right. I think that's some of this, right? And you're like,
Yeah.
you're right. It's a Cornette favor. Hey, do you mind my guy? So it's just kind of funny, given
hmm
the other crop of talents that's out here.
Well, that's my thing. I think, like, just to sidetrack a minute, like Smoky Mountain, USWA, if they're supposed to be like your feeder systems, why are you bringing like a 20-year vet in for this? Like, instead of a young guy that could get a
Yeah.
shot. But I guess, you look at Adam Bomb, they don't do shit with him. I guess it really doesn't matter anyway. So,
Yeah, bring a young guy in to just let him rot.
right. So, yeah,
Uh,
that was our
that's
30. And then it gets to a point where like Murdoch does this like great job of teasing tossing Michaels, but then Shawn turns around, tosses Aldo, Murdoch gets tossed, and so does Fatu, and eventually gets down to like the final five, which I think is pretty solid outside of one. You got Shawn Michaels, Crush, Luger, and Bulldog with Henry Godwin, who I don't think belongs in this mix, but you always get that one guy that kind of, you don't know what they're why they're in there. There's kind of like a wild card. So once it gets down to like Godwin gets eliminated, Crush. I think Crush got eliminated too soon. I feel like he's a heavy hitter and could have been kind of in there a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And so does Luger. So it gets down to Bulldog and Shawn, and the crowd is like pretty hot for this. I feel like 1 and 2, even though it's such a short rumble, it doesn't count the same. I think it's still good that they kind of made it to the finish. And it gets down to like this spot where Bulldog looks like he clotheslines Shawn over the top rope. They do a great job of playing it up like he won, even playing his music. And of course, this is the spot where like Shawn does the skin the cat and both feet never touch. He kind of, skins the cat, comes back over the top, throws Bulldog over, and wins the Rumble, which to me is a very babyface move.
Yep.
Vince has been baby facing him all night on commentary for probably your number 2 or number 3 heel in the company. So very strange booking, but a good finish nonetheless to a pretty shitty Rumble.
Yeah, we got Dunn eliminated. Vince King loves his joke. Dunn is done. So
Yeah,
I really
yeah.
put that. I think they only named him that for that joke.
Yeah.
You didn't mention Dick Murdoch's super airplane spin, did you?
Oh no, I didn't.
On the hog. It's
That
so
was a
ridiculous.
great spot, too.
Like it's like 1960s, like wrestling. Like just take a guy in there, and he, of course, I think messes it up, and he flips himself over instead of hog. But
Yeah, you
oh
got
well.
dizzy. Yeah.
And they also, yeah, definitely. Well, when you're 7 beers deep, 7 Coors Lights in, will make you a little dizzy. We also got Luger that Vince calls his embarrassment as he gets thrown out, not winning at all. I did thought Bulldog, like when I remember this, like I was so pissed at the ring announcer for playing Bulldog's music. It was like so annoying when that happened that, they play his music before Shawn knocks him out. Cool entrance, cool fake elimination. I thought that was really good. And Shawn looks strong. Pam gets in the ring for like 2 minutes while Shawn strips some more. She really could care less about Shawn, so immediately exits with Pam Anderson, which I put is very safe. She immediately walks out with like Shawn after like 2 minutes. After 2 minutes in the ring, not even 2 minutes in the ring, but you get your flash, your photography, right, with Shawn and Pamela in the ring to end. Weird seeing a face kind of win again. It looks better presented than Yoko kind of did after the match, right? Like Yoko kind of just won and walked out when we watched 93. I thought, this made him look like a superstar. So that was kind of cool. The Rumble, the shorting of times is probably better, that we didn't have to see some of these guys in a long time, but it's a massive misuse of talent. I thought Crush, I'm guessing they didn't want Crush to go that long, but like you think of Crush, you think of Luger, you think of Owen, you think of Backlund. All those guys were underutilized in their time in the ring. Like either no time in the ring, like Owen and Backlund, or the time was not managed right, like Luger. It was great seeing Bulldog and Shawn. I thought they both played very well in there. And then this Rumble definitely missed a guy like a Martel that just like ate up time, right? Like 20 minutes of just being in and out, like being the workhorse. And you got too many of these guys that no one cares about. The Blue Brothers, the Bushwhackers, just in there, Mo, just in there for eliminations. I thought the Bundy and Mabel spot looked pretty good too. So I'll give that some there. But there's just a lot of things where guys come out and it's like, man, they're just there to get wasted. And there's just not enough star power to make we both talked about. Luger should have really thrown out like 10 guys in this Rumble, right? Or even Bundy or Mabel, right? Like one of those guys should have really owned the ring, and they didn't. Instead, just kind of like nonchalant. They're kind of going in and out. So fine Rumble. It's fun to watch. It's easy, right? But it's just one of those things where it's like, man, the roster is really struggling at this time. Place. So they got to find some ways to get some better talent in there. We'll see what they get there. We've been talking up, Hakushi and maybe Kama. We'll see some of these other guys if they kind of come through. But right now, too many like super jobbers that have spent no time being built up.
Yeah, Hakushi's another one that could have been in the Rumble. Like, he's
even Kama,
too.
Right?
Kama could have debuted. Yeah. Just a missed opportunity as far as the roster goes, and they're really in flux right now. I think we're going to see like 3 or 4 guys coming in the next couple months. They're kind of cool additions to the roster that I wish would have been in here, but you get what you get, I guess.
Yep. Anything else on the overall presentation of our Royal Rumble 19?
I think it was a fun watch, at least. I think with this era, as the In Your House is coming, everything like that, I'm not really going to expect any like classics or anything like that, especially with this roster, but at least the shows are fun to watch. Like 94, I just felt like a lot of the shows were such a slog sometimes, and you would get your good matches here and there, but it wasn't as fun as so far 95 is being.
Yep, we'll see. And I think also with the Inner Houses, there's so much shorter. This pay-per-view is an easy watch, like especially the Rumble part. The Taker match and the tag team match probably just raw long. Like I don't think it's needed, but besides those, like it's a pretty easy watch. Everything's like 15-minute segments. So should we move on to rewards then?
Yes, sir.
All right, most new gen outfits.
I'm gonna go with Diesel's silver jacket. I'm gonna have to give him one.
Diesel. My computer froze, so I'll go with Double J winning the title and looking in his outfits. Most new gen performer.
Dick Murdoch. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna go with Bigelow in his moment with LT.
That's good.
I really like that.
Good. I'll get that. I want to say I'll go 1, 2, 3 Kid. Pretty memorable. Him winning the title. He's been a guy. Is this the second time winning the title? Right? Yeah, he won with Marty.
Yeah, he won with Marty. Yep.
So yeah, kind of like very synonymous of like this upset, short title reign guy. So I thought that was pretty synonymous with him, like these crazy upsets he pulls. Worst match or segments?
I guess I'm gonna have to go IRS and Taker. It wasn't like a terrible match. It just kind of went too long. And it just got kind of convoluted at the end, so I'm going to go with that.
Yeah, with the Druids, it was pretty bad. I'm going to give it to Owen Hart being eliminated. I just thought a guy that could have been in the Rumble and done a lot more instead was in there 30 seconds. They missed it. They showed it 5 minutes later, so that whole segment was pretty rough. Best match or segments?
I'll go with Bret Diesel. Like, it wasn't the great ending or anything like that. It wasn't like this classic match, but up until the ending, I thought it was a pretty solid match, and where they were going was pretty good.
I'm going to say, because it sets up so much, the Bam Bam versus LT segments, and also I thought Vince afterwards, like his fake apology of like really selling it, and we'll see that on the Raw. I've already watched the Raw, but we'll see that as well, like of how genuine it seems. So it seems like that line they're trying to mix between reality and script. So I thought that was really well done. Anyone stock up on anyone?
I'll go Bigelow. Bigelow stock up. I mean, I feel like him getting this spot is a big moment for him. So
I'll go Shawn Michaels to kind of elevate to the world title feud, winning the Rumble, pretty cool, and the Skin the Cat to keep that up. Anyone got stock down?
I kind of go to the Undertaker. I just feel like there's nothing like I know the Bundy stuff's happening, but it's just not. It's not grabbing me yet. I just feel like he's in the same position every single year. It's like the same thing. So
yep, I'm gonna go Mr. Luger. We both kind of called it out separately as our notes of just being kind of wasted and not being very strong here. Even Todd Pettit made fun of him of like, hey, you can never win the big one, and sure enough, loses the one again. So I'll go with him as another stock down. So that was 95 Rumble. We got some Raws and Superstars then building up to WrestleMania 11. At this time, Shawn and Diesel's probably the main event, but the real main event, I don't think anyone could have seen it this time. So it should be a fun build, to that pay-per-view. So I think they make some big mistakes on the way to WrestleMania 11. So we'll see how they get there, but I think there's some big missed opportunities on the card. So we'll see how the buildup is to that. I don't really remember it as much before we get into like the inner houses. Like I remember that, but I just don't remember this kind of fall or springtime.
Bridge.
Yeah, the bridge.
I don't remember that either. Like I can the Rumble. I remember that. I remember Mania. Obviously, like you said, all the in your house, the summer, everything is all pretty clear. But this, end of January into end of March, I don't remember at all. So.
All right. Well, we'll see everyone in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening, rate, and review, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Yes, sir.